Oh, really?
And, yeah, she's a special education teacher.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is she on island or is she?
No, she lives in California, but she's doing her best to get back to the Big Island, which is where she really wants to be.
So was your family originally from the Big Island, or was there a story on that one?
Yeah, we don't. My grandma was raised in Hilo. My grandpa was raised in Hilo. My grandma raised my mom in Hilo. My grandma also went to UH. My grandpa also went to UH. So there's definitely a very significant love for Hawaii in our family.
Right?
Not a long time.
So here, before we get into details, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody here?
Hi guys. My name is Ziggy Kitsou. I'm a 23-year-old living in Honolulu. Recently hired at USC as a fitness coach.
So what type of singing do you do?
So I like to just kind of groovy, soulful.
Define soulful.
I like music that you can just put on and it'll just make you feel good. That's what I like to sing.
Okay.
So
one of my clients
nothing
is
too serious.
it's kind of interesting, and I like kind of talking about the psychology of people and whatnot. Obviously, as fitness professionals, we have our perspective on things. Mm-hmm. And one of my clients, I love seeing her self-confidence build up. And apparently she is a decent singer. So decent that she's done a video audition for one of the, I don't know whatever it was, America's Got Talent, but one of the shows.
Yeah.
And I had posted her on my Instagram in the story. So if anybody, Luana Bass, she kicks ass. She's what she calls. But I think it's as a singer, as an athlete, you have to have a little bit more confidence.
You do.
To get
I am
out
both
there.
of those things. So I have to have a lot of confidence in myself.
I also find as an artist, you can be, there's this weird combination of being one of my other people that I had, Justin Quinilla, he had coined a term and I never heard of it before, but basically it's somebody that's both extroverted in some things but introverted in other things. Mm-hmm. I forgot. I really wish I remember the term.
I'm 100% that. I think being a Libra, there's balance in everything, right, in my life. So I can't be extroverted all the time. It just wouldn't work. I'm extroverted a lot of the times out with people. The second a person's in front of me, I become that person. But when I'm alone, it's very much quiet, silence. It's very different. It's not like I'm going all the time kind of thing.
I kind of feel, because for anybody that doesn't know, so here's two things that we learned about each other, and we've known each other for just 2-3 weeks. We learned about each other.
Yeah.
So why don't you start off, because I want you to have all the thunder on this one. So when we met, you came down on the floor and you said, hey, you're Pomai, you're the guy I needed to talk to. And that was the first time we...
Yeah. I kind of definitely am a taker of that initial breaking that silence.
Which is cool.
I've had a lot of jobs in my life, so that's kind of important to be able to, work your way into a situation that's already been here for so long.
But what was the thing that you initiated the conversation?
I said that you have the same name as a cat that I used
your cat.
Back in the...
So apparently I'm named after a cat somewhere out there in the world.
It was my grandma's cat, and it was a cat she had when she lived on the Big Island. So it was a special cat. So
what kind of cat was it?
I don't remember the cat, but it was...
Tell me it's a mountain lion.
No, but it was fluffy. It was super fluffy. So
Fluffy mountain lion?
It was this cat was very special, and I hadn't heard the name Pomai in like 10 years.
Oh.
And then the second I heard it, it just hadn't thought about this cat in a super long time too, and it just was like so many memories came flooding back, and it was really nice, honestly.
Oh,
Yeah.
So tell the other thing that apparently we share in common.
Our birthdays. Yes, the exact same birthday.
So when we were, when I did the podcast before with Yolanda, we were talking because she used to swim for the same swim team I used to swim way back in the days.
Oh, funny.
And we were talking about some like local people that are well-known athletes, and you know, the swim coach at Punahou is very, very well-known. They have one of the best swim programs in the nation. But her, do you stay in contact with like the local surfer news or surfing news in general?
I would say kind of.
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
Yeah.
The reason being is one of my swim coaches from way back in the day was a guy by the name of Chris Moore. Chris Moore's daughter is Carissa Moore, the world champion.
Longboarder, yeah.
No, shortboarder.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You can look her up.
Okay.
What you call it? She's phenomenal. But her Chris Moore, he's a very well-known rough water swimmer in Hawaii. He was like one of my coaches that was kind of in one of my apexes when I was a good swimmer, and we also share the same birthday. And it was kind of funny because he made the team this one bet, and it was like the day before our birthday, and he basically said, could you swim the entire 50-meter distance of the pool without taking a single breath? And I think we were even hooked up to a bungee cord, so it was a resistant swim going all the way down, and I did it. And so then he gave me it was a mint chip it's cookie bar.
So good.
So yes.
So good.
And it was amazing. And he was like, then he also found, I was like, well, it's also your birthday present. And then we somehow got talking, and it was like, oh, it's his birthday too. And
So that was on your birthday?
that was on my birthday.
Oh, wow.
That's where we figured things out. So anyhow, long story.
Awesome.
Let's kind of get back to talking about you. So could you kind of give me your 5 W's as far as like the who, what, when, where, like what made you coach, what brought you here to Hawaii, all that kind of stuff.
I've been into fitness for since graduating high school, I would say. I actually graduated high school 2 years early. I did this because I was in a class that my teacher wouldn't answer my questions, and I remember it so clearly. It was pre-calc. And
Calc, wow.
yeah, in high school I was in pre-calc, and I was a junior, just starting off as a junior, and I would like ask these questions, and I'm a question asker, and I understand that can be annoying, but it's also, oftentimes I'm asking what a lot of people are thinking. I'm just not afraid to like raise my hand, and so I did that, and he wouldn't answer my questions, and I was failing this class.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it really drove me to this point where it's like, why am I wasting my time? In a sense, obviously it's not wasting your time to go to high school, but it felt like I wasn't being taught what I wanted to. It wasn't what I wanted. So I graduated early with this test called the CHESP, and I went to a junior college, and there I had more time to really focus on what I wanted. I took psychology classes, I took astronomy classes, I did some English, and some of those courses that you need to take, and ultimately throughout that I had more time, and I found fitness, and I spent every day in the gym. And
if you don't mind, where was that? High school, public school, private school?
It was public.
Okay.
Yeah, it was actually called Marin School of the Arts. So it was like half art school, which is why I was there, but then you also had like the academic classes as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So
What state was this in?
California.
California.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
The reason why I bring that up, most people don't know that statistically, Hawaii has the highest private school attendance rate in the entire nation.
Oh, wow.
So, don't quote me on the exact number. I want to say it's something like 15, 20%, which is a large amount comparative to other states.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, I think one of the things, and we don't need to do a deep dive on this one, but kind of to say, I used to be a public and private school teacher before I was a coach. That was like my career life before this. And so what most people, I'm not going to go into the rating category, but let's just say a lot of people are behooved to go towards private school education. And I think right now, especially in the pandemic, private schools have a little bit more flexibility as far as what they can do, what resources. So there's a lot of private school teachers, like they already had computers and laptops to some of their students. I'm not saying super generalized, but when things had to flip the switch and we had to do online stuff and whatnot, I think the private schools generally are doing it more right than wrong, so to speak. And for the record, I'm not knocking on public school teachers at all. I think they're some of the most passionate and hardworking people out there. It just kind of sucks that some of the logistics that's around it is kind of messing up that portion of it, and they'd end up taking a blame for it. So my heart's really kind of going out because I know they're facing down like a 10% furlough going on. So anyhow, stay strong, people.
Yeah,
Right?
my mom's a teacher, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's a special education teacher.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is she on island or is she?
No, she lives in California, but she's doing her best to get back to the Big Island, which is where she really wants to be.
So was your family originally from the Big Island, or was there a story on that one?
Yeah, we don't. My grandma was raised in Hilo. My grandpa was raised in Hilo. My grandma raised my mom in Hilo. My grandma also went to UH. My grandpa also went to UH. So there's definitely a very significant love for Hawaii in our family.
Cool.
Yeah.
Where was your what was the generation that came to Hilo? Where'd they come from?
Yeah, I actually don't have that off the top of my head, but my cousin who lives in Volcano right now, she sent me this whole huge family tree with all of that information, and so I've looked at it. Like I know, it's hard to remember. There's so many different people involved. So
yeah, genealogy is an interesting thing.
It's fascinating. Yeah.
I have it. Well, it's number one, very important within Hawaiian culture. Like pretty much our tattoos and everything is based on them.
My family's name is Irwin. And there's a street in Hilo that my family lived on that I know where it is, and then we also my uncle helped write the Hawaiian Homestead Act.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he teaches Hawaiian language at University of Hilo right now.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
My brown side of my family, we came from Hilo, and there was kind of a heartfelt moment for working for this company because obviously I met BJ and whatnot, but he was a super cool guy, but obviously a celebrity within UFC gym.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cool because, unbeknownst to him, I'm just the starting out local boy coach that, nobody knows who that
I can't even imagine you, this little starting out.
Well, I wasn't that little.
I wasn't that little.
But
I know, I just imagined this little Poma just walking into the gym for the first time.
So, true story, and I kind of want to get back and focus on you, but it was like the first day before the gym was actually even finished built.
This one?
Yeah, there was a showroom that was kind of near where the Sprint T-Mobile store is, about 2 blocks away from here. And that was where they sold all the initial memberships and where the original bunch of coaches, that's where we would meet to onboard. So kind of like when you and Yolanda and all you guys, so it was 20 plus of us that were meeting over there, and all of that stuff was all trying to go ramp up, so when this location opened up, they flipped the switch and everything's going. So sorry.
Oh.
Oops.
I'll just
But it was funny because like everybody there, I was so intimidated because you had like all these like former or even in some cases current pro MMA UFC fighters that are now teaching the class. Hell, there was yoga instructors that had like 15 years experience, and everybody had, you know, 1,000,001 degrees, and here I was, some former computer teacher. And as they're going around the room, they kept on introducing, and I was like, "Hey, I'm Scott Junk, like former UFC, what you call it." And they get to me, and I'm like, "I'm a computer teacher from Iolani and Farrington. Like, my only claim to fame here is like I can out mouse click all of you. That's all I got,
Hey,
you know."
Something.
And I think the only thing that, sure, I was an athlete before, and I'm gonna kind of ask you a few things in some of my notes. It was like, that was so many years ago that nobody cares.
It's in the past.
It doesn't matter, and it was this weird
It's only where you
transition
go, right?
that I still at least looked athletic. I had done some fitness modeling and things like that, so I looked the part. But now I was like, wow, I'm really inside the lion's den with a bunch of people, you know. So that was. So if you can understand my mindset of that time, like very small fish and a pretty, you know, with a lot of predators around, so to speak. When BJ came in, like he didn't even know my name, but he like gave me a big handshake and a big bro hug. And he was like, "Hey, so glad to hear." And I was like, "Wow," you know what I mean? Like he he came to me to see him. So it's something that I always remember fondly with him. So anyhow, did you have like a similar story, like for you growing up, or? I mean, like, what was the thing? Like, you mentioned that you played like sports and stuff back in high school and things like that.
I guess it wasn't such a specific moment that I can trace it back to. I do remember one of my first gym sessions. Hate to say it, with my ex-boyfriend. He's the one that took me to the gym, okay? But you know, he didn't get me there, right? I got myself there, but he took me there, and he showed me the basics, like basic form, basic, bicep curl, whatever, taught me the different. And, you know, I didn't know that, I just knew that I loved to exercise. I just known that, and and so I guess there is a specific moment I can trace it back to. It was that first session, and I was like, damn, this feels good. I like this.
Gotcha.
And ever since, I've been consistent, and there's not a lot of things that can get me that consistent where I do it every day for the entire year kind of thing, you know? And fitness and probably music are those only two things in my life that have always kind of stuck since I found them. Fitness I found it a little bit later, like lifting and everything. So, but once I found it, it stuck, and now I'm just deciding to, take it one step further and share my passion with other people.
I think everybody has, in retrospect, you have some story. Like Yolanda's was, she had kind of a self-confidence issue, and it came through, and it came out in kind of like a version of performance anxiety. And I think for her, she was a really good swimmer back in high school. And then come to college, like some of the things that we did as far as sports, they just kind of drop off. Unless you had like a scholarship in that sport to continue on through college. Most of us don't, right? So that was her gateway into like doing fitness and doing weights and things like that. It sounds like you had a similar story, but obviously with
I played soccer and I loved it, but I wasn't ever, amazing. So I think that's a great point. I was like, you have to kind of commit once you go into high school. Like, am I going to make this, am I going to try to get really good and go do traveling teams and all that, or is it just going to be a hobby? So I guess I thought, but you bringing that up about kind of the internal reasons why, I mean, that was all very, my story before was kind of simple, right? I just went and liked it.
I'm not judging it on any of that.
No, I know, but on a deeper level, I think that I really found a love in making myself stronger so I don't rely on anyone. My mom...
Independence.
Yeah, independence. My mom...
I respect that.
Yeah. I was born in Greece. My dad still lives there. So my mom raised me with my grandma and my stepdad halfway through my life. So I was just raised to be just fiercely independent, and I think strength was something that you can't force, or you can't fake it. Like, if you're not strong, you're not strong, physically. So that was something like I had control over, that would allow me to be able to control my surroundings better, not rely on anybody. So I always forget about that, but that was a huge reason why I do this. So
that's,
and now I open the jars for my girlfriends now,
That's a really good way to look at it, Like I shared Yolanda's story. I have my former director from Kailua, Mikey Gazi, so he's going to be on a podcast soon. That one has won as far as the longest podcast to date. It was over 2 hours. A really super smart guy, and we're both enjoy talking. And it was kind of funny because his story was literally a matter of life and death for him to get into fitness.
Yeah.
So his body went like completely septic, his kidneys and stuff. I'm not going to take away the thunder from his story because he says it inside the podcast.
Yeah.
But he almost died, and it was kind of fitness that breathed life back into him.
Yeah.
Which I don't think we need to overcomplicate it, but yes, if you do fit things, you will be healthier.
Yeah, my mom, she at my age, a little bit younger, she was anorexic.
Oh, wow.
And she told me the other day, she messaged me, she's like, when I was 23, I was living in Hawaii, working at a gym, teaching workout classes. And I was like, I'm not surprised at all, because I'm her, but she found fitness after that, and it helped her find her health again and find her that light, and...
Can I ask you this, and I think this is kind of like a taboo-ish subject, but something I think as trainers we kind of face, and as a woman you probably will see or have dealt with it more so than a guy. Eating disorders. It's a bigger issue than I think people want to talk about. But obviously, since we're talking about trying to be health and fitness, that could be a huge thing.
It can be. I've never personally experienced it.
But you mentioned your
but
mom.
My mom has, and she's never really. She doesn't like to talk like detail about it with me. But I know it was really hard for her, and I learned a little bit about what goes on, and I studied it a bit in a nutrition course. It's tricky. It's a tricky subject.
It is a very tricky subject, and I always try to at least kind of show some light on it, because I think as kind of some people that deal with life habits and nutrition, things like that. First of all, it's like if we're not having a nutrition conversation with anybody inside, whatever their goal is and all of that, for what it entails, it's like we're not going to get there. You can't eat like crap, or you can't even do what we're about to do unless you're putting fuel in the system.
Totally.
Without even going in super in depth with it, but that's it in its nutshell. And if I can't have that conversation, which I think a lot of times when people have bulimia, anorexia, there's like a trigger point, and there's like a lot of emotional pushback, because it usually is attached to something emotionally.
It's kind of figuring out why it started and then addressing it from there. It's like the disorder itself has the same symptoms, but I feel like everyone develops it through different reasons, right? Because everyone's different.
Did you find your mom, because obviously she found different ways to work through it, like fitness, right? Was it ever something that was a harder conversation from her to you, just in like normal life when it came to just eating? Was there ever sometimes a disconnect on that?
She's very What do you mean? Like, what do you?
Well, I've had situations, and this is kind of like a coach confessionary section, where let's say the daughter has, and I'm going to speak in super general terms in order to protect the innocence, right?
Recording. Okay.
Yep, looks like it's good. That the mom is kind of like shaming the daughter because she's not fitting some type of female body image.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think.
And it's like, oh no, she eats way too much.
No,
I was like,
my
are
mom
you
would.
kidding me?
My mom
No.
would took it on the flip. She always put healthy food around me growing up, but I mean, she would never. Oh, speaking of, my mom's calling me right now. That's funny.
Why don't you answer it?
We're not going to answer.
Oh, okay. I would say, why don't you just give her a call? It's like, hey, mom, I'm doing a podcast. Can you give me a call back later?
Oh, damn. I should have done it.
All right.
Sorry.
I'm not trying to keep you from your mom.
Yeah.
But yeah,
she was always very, I mean, it was a very hard subject for her, so she would never, like, want that for me. She would never, like, say things, you know, like, it was always love yourself, you know, and just eat healthy. I guess that's what it's all about, is just, like, education and just, like...
It's what it should be. And I think, since we're talking about nutrition and generalities of what's going on, I think, number one, it's a hard thing because it's such a hard talk for people to do, even under normal circumstances, without even us talking about, like, eating disorders.
Yeah.
But I also feel that a lot of these, let's put eating disorders in a bad habit category, that a lot of our habits that we talk when we're talking about food is generationally passed down from our parents.
Yeah, definitely.
You know?
If she had, you know, handled it differently and, you know, brought those negative, like, we can't eat a lot kind of thing, I mean, she wouldn't eat, you know? But, yeah, for sure.
I think people on different layers just, once again, going back to kind of the miseducation on these type of things, you know, I think sometimes by default, number one, what is it, like 70% of Americans are considered obese, right?
70%.
So we can say that that's a large,
Yes,
a large majority
it's
of
a large
maybe
majority.
some bad dietary decisions out there. And then let's couple that with if we can take that as a truth, then there's a lot of people that they're eating lifestyles, you know, to their kids, because obviously the kids aren't going to know.
So important. So
they're going to feed their kids whatever they're eating, and that's, you know.
I can't tell you how many of my friends don't eat vegetables, and I might have been one of them if my mom didn't make me eat vegetables. And I didn't like them when she was making me eat them, but I realized, you know, she kind of, what's the word? She just planted it in, like literally planted it in. I didn't even think about that.
Puns intended.
You know, that it's important, makes you feel good, and makes you strong, and I think it was also all about a balance, right? Like, she always would buy me my favorite box of sugared cereal on my birthday, but that's the only time of the year I got sugared cereal.
And it was a box.
And it was one box, and it was like the best, because it was on my birthday, and I got whatever I wanted, and I got to eat it.
Were you telling me about this? Like, what was your cereal? What was the go-to?
My cereal was Lucky Charms.
You're a Lucky Charms.
I was
Gotcha.
Lucky Charms. Yep. Probably still to this day, I would choose Lucky Charms over anything else. And I don't just eat the marshmallows now, I eat everything.
So obviously there's an emotional attachment. So for me, it is probably
What's yours?
probably Honey Bunches of Oats.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I would say probably when I was a kid, it was probably the peanut butter Captain Crunch.
I know, I thought you were going to say peanut butter, I don't know why.
Because I love peanut butter.
Yeah.
I go through a
Peanut
lot
butter cups?
of peanut
Or
butter.
the cereal?
All of them. Doesn't matter.
Okay, now I know what to get you as presents.
My morning shake has about 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. I get like the large Skippy ones from Costco,
Oh, you
and
use that
I'll
stuff?
go. Oh yeah. I'll go through that, and I'll tell you. I'll justify it why, because number one, for the amount of peanut butter, this is my morning shake, so it's what I have every single morning.
Yeah.
So I go through peanut butter pretty quickly.
Yeah.
right?
So
Sure, we can have a talk about, oh, why don't you get like the bougie cashew one?
No,
or
I
something,
honestly
right?
think I'm learning. I'm always learning too. So if you're gonna tell me that I can eat that peanut butter again,
It's
please.
not a, okay, so.
Please do say that. I would happily go to Costco now.
I would love to have, see, at least you're open to this conversation, right?
Yeah.
And
I don't know what's best. I'm totally that kind of trainer. Like, I know what I know until someone teaches me something new, and then that's what I know. I'm not closed-minded at all, or like thinking that I know everything at all, because that's too scary to like think you know everything.
well, and that's a healthy mindset.
Yeah.
Neil deGrasse Tyson said, know enough that you have confidence in it, but don't know something enough that you don't feel mobile.
Yeah, that you're like shut down. Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
And that's from one of the smartest men in the world.
Yeah,
So let's
I
take
totally
that for what
agree
it
with
is.
that, 100%. Especially in this field, but any field, really.
It should be.
In life.
It's a learning mentality.
Yeah.
And me and Mike were talking about like critical thinking. There's a podcast I like to listen to by Kyle Hill. He used to do this thing called Because Science. But don't quote me on his quote if he was the originator or not.
Okay.
But he said, the quote is, social media is the death of nuance. So, and I think, especially nowadays, a lot of people, for internet's sake, they don't really delve deep into when something is presented to them. As far as, the question everything, they just don't think about it. It's like, oh, so-and-so said this, so
Yeah.
it gotta be true, and
Yeah.
we get into these real tribalistic
Maybe not just
camps.
social media, but the internet.
Yeah, no, for sure. And well, social media
Interweb.
it just happens to be the speaker it's coming out of,
Yeah.
right? For whatever this.
But also,
information.
there's Wikipedia. Right?
Well, yeah, and what is Wikipedia? It's
What
a
is-
self-generated
Yeah.
definition.
I mean, I love Wikipedia, but you're right. I need to question it more. I am rather gullible, so.
There was this one time back in my animator days. It was so funny. So one of my friends had looked up fire, right? Just on Wikipedia, just the definition of fire, and the first sentence that is on it: fire is what happens when you have sex too fast.
Oh God!
And I kid you not, that was so. It kind of
I don't know if
shows
I
you.
believe. Did you see that? Like, him type it in and not come up, or did he just?
No,
tell
it was
you
there.
that?
It was there. But here's the thing: it shows you that Wikipedia is something that it's not coming from like Webster's or
No,
like a
it's
source.
not third-party back.
It's the internet. It's the internet, right?
Yeah, but college did, teach me to find those accredited resources and everything. So.
Well, basically it's an open source library of information, which Wikipedia, I think, for the peoples that are Wikipedia like neophytes, or I don't know what you want to call it, they are more like I guarantee you probably can look it up on look up fire and it's not going to be there now.
Yeah.
But that's
Maybe it was Urban Dictionary.
well, no, I know it was Wikipedia. But your Urban Dictionary is a similar thing, right? It's just self-generated as far as the information is concerned. So when nowadays, unless it's like, I don't know, what is the more reputable Snoops or like a fact check type of thing.
EBSCO host.
Something. I'm still trying to learn. I'm not of the generation that what she calls, but I find all of it very, very interesting. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, kind of going back to talk about nutrition and whatnot, it's hard to know what the truth is, and a lot of times the knowledge that we have is generationally
Yeah.
driven,
Very
right?
much so.
And so, like, my dad was a very good cook as well as he was a very good athlete. Except he was also the type of guy, I remember I went to visit him once in Hawaii, and he opened up like this, it was a fish. It was just a straight fish that was wrapped at a supermarket, and he just unwraps it and like washes it off and just starts digging into it.
Really?
Yeah.
Like a raw fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no,
With his hands?
more or less. More or less. Yeah, I mean, there was a knife involved, I think, a few times.
Uh
but-
huh. Slice. Just take it from the
Yeah, that's how he does.
Yeah. Cool.
he was a commercial fisherman and all these type of things. So I know that he knows like what the quality was of it and whatnot.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I love sashimi and poke just as much as the next person.
Yeah.
But it was like eyes staring at you and everything kind of fish.
Oh God. Just watching you eat it.
But that's old school. You wanna go back to the roots of food.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? That's how you can do
I
it.
guess breaking food down to do why you're really eating it is for, you know, the nutrients from it. And ultimately, when you break food down to a science, like what you're doing, why you're doing it, instead of it's moving it from pleasure into like necessity, it kind of helps. It's made me eat better. And I've had more fun, like finding, you know, nutritious ingredients. And I also got a new pan, and this new pan is awesome. And little things like that just make cooking more fun, you know. And so,
See, I don't find cooking fun.
yeah.
I'm one of these guys, right?
But maybe if you got a new pan that you loved, you might.
I just don't think I have the gear for it. But at the same token, I want to encourage people by saying, like, if this is my personality type, I obviously have more good habits than bad habits. And
Yeah.
Kind of going back to the peanut butter. For me, my hardest thing is trying to get enough calories in my system through the course of a day for what my goals are.
Yeah.
Right? So peanut butter is an easy answer. Of course, if you have a peanut allergy, by all means, don't do peanut butter.
Yeah.
Right?
Sorry for everyone that has peanut allergy.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
unfortunate.
Do you have a peanut butter allergy?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Feel free to get me peanut butter.
Yeah, but I also like the taste of peanut butter if it fits whatever my calorie difference is for it, and I just happen to eat a lot of calories, so
Yeah.
peanut butter is my answer.
There you go.
Could I have done it in just like straight raw almonds and go that? It could have been. It's going to be way more expensive in the long run. You know what I mean? And my body can kind of at least handle, or my lifestyle can at least handle kind of the workload. But I'm not trying to ever impose like my lifestyle and put it onto others.
Yeah.
But
I understand that works.
let me kind of put this into a good segue then, because it is one of my notes. What is, how would you describe your workout style?
Well, I'm still figuring it out, right? I'm very new, so I'm still figuring out what works for me. But from my first client the other day, I had so much fun with just doing like body weight stuff, and he was sweating, and it was challenging. And so I think it's really cool doing things with just your body weight, because I mean, this whole year, I've basically been doing that as my exercise, you know, because gyms have been closed down, and I have seen more results with just body weight because I've had a more balanced life overall with my diet and my mental health as well. I've been meditating every day consistently. Past years of my life where I've tried to do it every day, but I've lost it and I didn't do it for a week, got back into it. But recently I've been keeping very consistent, and I've just seen better results. And so I think that's where I'm going to take the direction of my training style, and just
Interesting.
yeah.
I do see you on the weight side. I mean, I see you throwing around some stuff on that.
Yeah, I mean, I love weights too. This is kind of developed over the past couple months. This
Okay.
love for body weight and no weights needed kind of thing. But I also do have a lot of fun with weights too. So I would say equally both. But I've worked with weights for the past 7 years. So now I'm diving into this other category that's almost more challenging, but it's really cool to me. You don't need weights. You really don't, especially women.
I wouldn't put it into that category. And I think one of the things, and this kind of goes back to like what we're talking about, like the hook. Like, I don't need to like text you tomorrow and say, like, oh, Ziggy, make sure you get your workout in today. Like, you're just gonna do it, you know?
Yeah.
But when we're talking about, we're the athletes. We've been doing it for a while. When we talk about people that are trying to not even get to an athletic side, but to get to healthy, it's a really key component for somebody to find the thing that gives them the hook.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm not trying to crap on body weight exercise by any means.
No, for sure.
But I don't want to use the language of like need to. I want somebody to try out everything.
Okay.
And then like if that's the thing that hooks you and that's the thing that gets you, out the door into the gym,
Yeah.
then by all means,
Yeah.
whether it's Muay Thai, boxing, martial arts.
Yeah.
And I think that's a hard thing for a lot of people right now because obviously we have like limited class sizes, limited classes and all that.
Yeah.
So as much as for me, I tried to do the body weight stuff and it's not that I don't know how to do it, but it doesn't bite me.
Yeah.
So my consistency to keep up with it.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to a coach from Kailua and she was like one of my workout partners with we had a bodybuilding lifting class together, and unfortunately when I left that gym over here it kind of fell apart. But her and her husband had moved to California, and she had mentioned that gyms were closing now, and she's a figure competitor herself, and she's like, hey, TRX is cool, but I miss lifting heavy crap with you guys.
Yeah.
It's like all my gains are gone.
Yeah, it's definitely...
It's a touchy thing,
It
right?
is. I mean, if you want to be a bodybuilder, yes, you need weights. But, I mean, you asked what my focus as a trainer is,
Yes.
correct? And so my focus right now with what I'm doing and really loving and trying to expand on is body weight work. And keeping it consistently moving, doing things that you might have not ever done before with your body that seem so simple, but they are really challenging, so that's just what I'm into right now.
No, I wasn't putting it into the context.
And it's also really, I know. It's also really cool because you can do it anywhere, and I love working out outside too, especially in Hawaii. I know a lot of my friends have a hard time getting into the gym because they just would rather be outside exercising, and I get it, so that's bringing the gym out of the gym. So it's cool.
I think to kind of go back to the point, it wasn't that I was really trying to corner the idea of what you should be doing. I just think it's the importance of how we say it for other people. It's like, because I fell into the category of somebody that because I wasn't really into body weight exercises, I felt very disingenuous of trying to do online workout programs for people.
Yeah.
Which I think right now, if you are somebody that is a specialist when it comes to like more calisthenic bodyweight exercises, you're king on online training, right? Because right now there's so many people that can't afford gyms, they can't afford so you need something to be at home. And because I lack passion in it, it gets kind of portrayed in the videos.
I hear you.
And as much as I could be like a good actor in the face of it, it wasn't the look that I try to appeal to. It's not what I am as a person. So that's all I was kind of mentioning. It's just for everybody. I want somebody to find their flavor. I think it's really important to have somebody like you right now to be able to have that. I'm not trying to throw cold water on the situation, but in this what if world, if things shut down again, I'll still be there to help out people on whatever their need. But like you could do like an online workout and like, literally do the workout with them right there and correct them. I think that's a big component. So, and the thing is, you're excited about that type of stuff.
I really am. Like, I started this Instagram and I've really been enjoying creating content and just like putting it out there, and if anyone wants to do it, they can,
So this is not a crap on Ziggy. This is actually a big thing because I think that you're the type of person that can really empower a lot of people to get into an exercise routine. I think that's
what it's all about. Just making it less intimidating, more fun, like just changing the stigma, I guess, that people have in their head. I'm all about that.
I think that's a really good thing. And I also think it's like I want people to find us something. You know what I mean? Like, I enjoy martial arts. I enjoy weightlifting. If you're gonna lift heavy crap, you better have somebody else there to spot you. So in case things go south. It's hard to do even boxing if you don't have a heavy bag, and even harder to do it if you don't have somebody to hold mitts for you and things like that. So there's a lot of people like that can be kind of struggling just because of the thing that they want to do is less available for resources. Obviously, there's a huge advantage when you can do body weight, maybe buy a few bands, some light dumbbells,
Yeah.
something of that equation. You
That's all you
don't need a huge gym.
Yeah.
Of course, if it's something like my goal, then you're probably
Yeah.
gonna have to need a gym.
Yeah.
You know. And,
Yeah.
and I get the sympathy
Yeah.
for people on that side.
My goals ultimately are very, they come down to just being able, I really like Neil Spruce's play span concept.
Yes.
Because
yes.
he really just nailed it. Like why I do this. It's so I can have a better life almost. You know what I mean? And so that's a huge part of it.
Did you ever have a chance to meet Neil Spruce?
No.
He's a super interesting guy. I mean,
Seems like it.
He's
I
been.
could definitely pick his brain for a while.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you know the funny thing is when you actually meet him, he's more humbled and down to earth. Like you think that you're standing in front of the guy that put like a lot of current
it's like a
nutrition.
legend.
Oh, from like the late 70s, early 80s, right? And so, but like when you talk to him, he's like, oh yeah, I used to be a part of biker gangs and things like that. And I like his concept of play span because I think that we get into this idea that the race is about longevity, and it's like I'm gonna live till I'm whatever, right? But the problem is that the quality of life, and I think this is very important for many people now. Part of the reason why high obesity is there is because we accept that as a normal truth.
Yeah.
And so, we don't feel any pressure to have to be healthier. But in the long term, obviously, it puts us in a detriment. Now we're reliant on all these different type of pharmaceuticals in order to keep us alive.
Yeah.
Right? So at the root of it, PlaySpan is trying to expand the times that we can actually be active, spend time with family, be able to do all these how should I say? It's more important than the guy that's having to try to hit like a 500-pound squat. Like we don't think about things in this holistic lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah.
What you call it.
Yeah.
So that's a really good. So kind of sorry, I stole that away from you. Kind of expand on how you see that the PlaySpan.
Yeah. I mean, kind of said it well. I just see it as how long I can go to the gym for. I never want to stop. So if I do it consistently now, I'll be able to do it for longer ultimately. So it's a direct relationship. It's easy to not exercise now, but later people will wish they would have exercised more, right? So
I think that's what it should be, but I also feel that there's a lot of people that it's a harder thing to just solve for. And I see that a lot in not even elderly. I'm talking about, it's like, oh, here's the challenge. I can relate this to COVID. If all of us know that being healthier is the thing that can at least buffer our immune system to have more resiliency against this virus, right? Healthier immune systems just generally will serve better.
Yeah.
And that's just a reality for everyone.
Yeah. COVID, I mean, it's something trainers can use as leverage, straight up. Like
I relate it to like in martial arts. You don't learn martial arts to go beat up people. No, you learn martial arts that in an event the worst thing happens in the sense that now you have to use the tool.
Yeah.
It's a tool that you need to be proficient at.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes in my head it's a scary thought when you're showing up with the situation and now all of a sudden it's like, I am not prepared. It's not something that you could cram for the test the night before.
Yeah, exactly.
And get better.
You can't cram this. Yeah.
No. And I think sometimes like when the virus becomes, or when the vaccine becomes available, I'll more than likely get it. But I almost find that there's this weird underlying thing that people are it's like, give me the fix. Like that's the thing that fixes it.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
ultimately, no, it's everything you're doing.
Yeah,
right?
that doesn't solve for diabetes. It doesn't solve for all these other health ailments that could also kill you in another fashion.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a little coach confessionary, and I don't need to go completely down a dark road for that. But there's a lot of truths with it.
There is.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Kind of speaking to social media, and I'm always somebody, even though I'm doing this podcast, to be honest, I am not really a social media guy. So this is kind of a new realm for me. What's your thoughts on kind of growing up with social media and like how it's affected health, fitness, and lifestyle? Pros and cons.
Yeah, social media definitely has its ups and its downs regarding how it's made me feel about fitness and myself. It's just such a give and a take. I mean, growing up with social media, nowadays it's definitely adapted. I mean, I got an Instagram when I was like 16 or something, so that was like 7 years ago. And back then it had just came out, so it was really basic. You just kind of, there's no pressure, you're just posting what you're doing, and it really has adapted into this whole like huge kind of movement, and there's that constant comparison with everyone around you, but also connection with everyone around you. And it's like, it's so easy to go down in that spiral with social media and just like beat yourself up and say, why am I not doing that? Why am I not, like, that's so cool, I want to be doing that. And like just constant comparison your life to others, and usually it's negative, right?
Yes.
It's really, I mean, I just think social media is such a blessing and a curse. It really is. But also it's allowed, like, I'm creating this fitness brand, and you know, it gives me the potential to connect with people in halfway across the world, which is so cool. So it's just like, it's all about balance. That's what I've kind of, it's a huge theme in my life. It's all about balance for me. And you know, before you start the day, you pull up Instagram scrolling, I saw that have a negative take on my mind, and I cut that out. So it's just like, it's a balance, right? But I also think it's very important with business these days to have a social media presence.
It's a really weird context. Like from my perspective, and you said it earlier, it's like when you got your social media thing and you're like, and I just post what I do in the day. The whole thing of just even putting up, or the need to put up whatever I'm doing, does not even cross in my head in a second.
Yeah.
You know? And it's not, I think sometimes people is like, oh, are you hiding something? I was like, what is your business to be in my business?
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's a generational thing.
It very much is. Something that I'm like you, it's like I'm learning it at a different pace.
Yeah.
Because I just don't have that filter in my head, despite the fact that people are going to be watching this on social media.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is cool. It's one of those authentic social media things, I think. Like, hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it authentic as much, but it's also one of my life filters. One of the things I love about athletics, and you said it earlier, is it's extremely honest.
Yeah,
like,
I love this environment for that.
You either are lifting the weight or you can't lift the weight.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Or you're either good in martial arts or you're bad in martial arts.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe it's the alpha in me that I enjoy the competition, and it's the thing, part of the thing that drives me to be better all the time. But it's like, I don't think that's everybody's cup of tea and what drives them out the door.
Yeah.
You know, it's part of me, but that's the thing I love. I'd rather have, if I could create a day that everybody was mute and they couldn't like talk crap about like whatever they're about to do, their things they're gonna, it's like, just do it. Yeah. Just do it.
Yeah.
You either did it or you didn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think sometimes social media has types and shadows of there's some disingenuous people that are just putting up stuff to, it's like, I'm hashtag blessed life, this is how it always is for me.
Yes, it's a lot of the perfect.
Showboating.
It's a lot of what's good and not the bad. So I think it's transforming into these influencers showing the good and the bad and the like the realness. You know, this influencer I follow, she started doing like raw and real workouts. So there's no music. It's just her like just lifting these weights, and it's, you know, it's not like angle focus. There's no filters. It's just like real, and I love it.
Real. I'm intrigued. I mean, it's funny that it's stripped down, so to speak. Maybe not pun intended, but
you know, social media evolution adapts, and it's not. It doesn't work to just show the everything that's going right, you know, and all the perfect angle. It's like it doesn't really, it sells to a certain audience, but the bigger audience, like the real people, that's who I want to talk to.
Yeah.
Because
well, they're all real people. It's just this weird filter that gets put over.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
I guess it's just how that person is adapting to it.
Yeah.
I guess.
You know, one of my good friends, he was running a similar podcast, but he likes to keep to like the Instagram 10-minute format because he feels that like this generation does not, like they just lose focus. Like they're just.
Yeah, we do.
If it's not 30 seconds, then I'm not listening to
Yeah.
you. And I was like, you know, I get it, but maybe I'm just not looking for those people.
Yeah, I like that.
You know, I prefer people that...
There are the people that will watch, you know.
It's kind of like 6-minute abs. It was like, look, you can have this 6... It was like, first of all, it did not happen for that model to get 6-minute abs.
Yeah.
And I have no idea, like, how that is going to be.
I've never even heard of that.
Oh, really? Look it up.
Okay.
Or was it 7 minutes? It was so...
6 minutes is probably what it was, because that's...
It was a low number that if I was making somebody's holistic workout routine, which for the record, anybody that wants to know, you do not lose weight in little spots like that. You can't lose... If your goal is to lose, let's say, 10 pounds, just by you adding like 5 minutes of sit-ups is not going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Let's get that straight.
Yeah, let's get that. Let's get the facts down.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah, so that's one of those as seen on TV kind of gimmicks. It literally was one of these type of things.
And I think that's a lot of that goes back to the whole raw and real thing, right? Because it's, you know, it's comfortable, like it's less intimidating. You know, like one of my first clients, she found me because I wasn't like this perfect social media like fitness model. You know, I was like a normal. That's why I say normal. It's not like, that's just normal. More means like people you like come across every day, right? Like see in the street and say hi. Like that's what I was, and that's why she wanted me, because it was less intimidating, I guess. So.
Well, I mean, it's a little bit of that. I think, I mean, you have a very attractive build to yourself, and,
Thank you.
You know, from obviously a fitness professional, like, you're an athlete, And there's kind of like this realism that this is what athletes look like.
Exactly.
You know?
I kind of, okay, great point. Normalizing what athletes really look like, right? They still have fat. You know, so yeah.
You know, one of my, as much as I love, oh shoot, why did it draw a blank? Who's the actress that plays Wonder Woman?
I don't know, but I know who she is.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she's amazing. She looks great, and she legitimately
she has a really cool name, but I can't remember what it is.
Gal Gadot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
And she legitimately had trained, I want to say, in the Israeli army, or she.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no. So she was a real soldier. But then she went on to like, I know that she was like in Miss Universe and all these other things. So she's kind of covering the bases on two sides of it, right? But let me bring it back to like a Wonder Woman, somebody that is like super powerful, super strength. I kind of feel like if you were to put that to an athletic build, it probably would look a little bit more like Gina Carano. If you ever, are you a Star Wars fan? You ever watch Mandalorian? Okay, sorry,
Yes.
I drew a blank.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm not saying no. I don't want to get Star Wars fans coming.
No, like she was like a legit MMA fighter.
Yeah, Gina Sorian, yeah?
Serrano.
Serrano.
I hope I'm not butchering the pronunciation of the last name. But yeah, I mean, she's like a muscled big girl. Like it's like, yes, that person will just beat the crap out of you, you know? And I love her. I love Mandalorian. I love Star Wars.
Yeah.
A little biased on it.
Yeah.
That would be like an athlete.
I do too. I don't think I've seen the Mandalorian, but I do like Star Wars.
Oh, well, now you have homework for this weekend. Yeah, you have almost 2 seasons to catch up.
Okay.
You'll get there. You know what? Let's kind of shut, close things down.
Okay.
I think us as 2 Libras, we could end up talking even more.
For sure.
And I'd love to. You know,
We're in the clouds, just having a great time.
So, what would be? Why don't you kind of close up and say you've said some of the things that you are good at? Obviously, body weight exercise, calisthenic things.
And don't get me wrong, strength training is probably where I feel most comfortable.
For sure.
Yeah.
What's a few words of advice you can give to the non-athletes right now?
I guess just like you said, everyone has their own niche. I always say niche, but it's niche.
Is it tomato?
Sure. Okay, I like that.
I'm not going to get hung up in semantics.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if it's surfing, if it's like, you don't have to come into the gym if you have a desire to change your lifestyle, right? So that's my advice, is just start. Just do something that you enjoy and roll with it, and just think of it as fun, and do your best to make exercise fun and less like your job. And that's why I am also here, I think, ultimately, is I just want to help people change the stigma of exercise and fitness. And it's not only the best thing to keep you healthy and living longer, but it's the best thing to make every day better, in my opinion. Every day that I don't exercise is a day where I'm much less in control of my thoughts, my feelings, how my body feels. So overall, just my advice, get in some exercise every day and do it in what is fun for you. Don't force something that's not fun.
That's a very good statement.
And come find me if you need help.
And I will, reiterate that 100% on that side of it. So when she says find me, one of the things, and I had spoken to this in Yolanda's class, could you kind of give your availability for people to get a hold of you at the gym?
I'm pretty available right now. Usually I'm in the gym around 10 to 1 every day. I'm going to do my best to be in here 10 to 1, but I'll work with you right now because I'm so open. So.
And I will leave her profile link so people can get a hold of you on Instagram. One thing I've always reiterated with everybody in a non-COVID world, it would have been the same thing. Please respect the coach's time. Make sure you set up an appointment with them. I think in a different world, coaches used to be like the typical gym rats, and they used to always be hanging out here. But logistically, just like how most things are, it's like you got to respect the time. You got to put in what you call, because usually if we don't have an appointment, we're probably not going to be here.
Yeah.
So it's not drive-through. We're professionals, just like a doctor's office and anywhere else. Mm-hmm. So please make an appointment, make a commitment with her. And it was so, I know we were waiting for to have a good podcast for
Yeah.
I'm really happy with what she calls.
Me
And
too.
we'll probably do another one a little bit down the line. And I think one thing, let's give it maybe a month or two.
Yeah.
Because I think that probably some of your experiences and some of the things you have kind of seen inside the gym life and whatnot, we can all reflect on
Yeah.
things as it passes.
Yeah.
So really good talking to you.
Yeah. Thanks for my help.